Hello, it's Rudy Culloden Painting Studio here, and this is my first attempt at putting on a battle report. We're going to be playing Sharp Practice 2 as a solo game in the Peninsular War. We have some British and some French. Scenario we are playing is an encounter, rolled for deployment points. The French are starting this corner here. The British are behind a small house at the far end of the board, so it might be a while before we get any contact. Both sides have rolled an 11 for starting force morale. And we'll flip the first card. Let's see, blue flag. And we have leader 1. So, Captain Longbottom will bring on both groups, all three groups in line. Longbottom and Shanks have deployed the British line in a column along the side of the board there. Going to be a bit tricky to negotiate all the terrain. Next card. It's another blue flag. Leader 4, which is Lieutenant Gun. We will deploy the cannon behind the building. Gun has deployed. And it's Tiffin. So all the cards on the table will go back in the deck. French have nothing to spend their flags on. Right, next round of activations. Starting with Tiffin, well, that'll be the chapter ended, not that it matters. Leader 1 again. So, I think we will advance the column for 8. Next flip. Okay, so we have Captain Gros and 2 of the French line. Deploy 6 inches within the deployment point. So the French will be wanting to get into a firing position and avoiding any big line of sight to that cannon. Leader 2, that's the sergeant with the first French group, so he won't do anything just now. A red flag, 2 red flags, and Leader 4, so Lieutenant Gun, and we'll move the gun. Managed a whole 5 inches there. And it's Tiffin. Both British groups have activated, so those cards go back in the deck and on to the next phase. Right, first card is Leader 1 again, so he's getting to do quite a lot. Is Captain Longbottom. He'll move for 2 actions. 10 inches. Captain Gros again. Okay. Just advance for 2 actions. 3 inches. Now we're talking. So, Captain Petit will come on and form up into line behind Captain Gros. The blue flag. Leader 2 is Sergeant Shanks, nothing for him to do at the moment. A red flag. Another red flag. And Tiffin. So nobody can use those cards. All those groups activated. Next activation phase. A red flag. Leader 2. Sergeant Shanks doesn't have much to do. And another red flag. Blue flag. Leader 2. Which is Sergeant Fabergé. He doesn't have anything to do at the moment. 3 red flags. Which I think we'll use to bring on Lieutenant Semple and the Light Company. Leader 4, Lieutenant Gunn, will advance. Oh, 11. So not great news for the French. He now has line of sight down length of the table. And Tiffin. So the French do have a flag. So Captain Agros will try and move his line straight ahead. And perhaps if he's lucky he can move behind the other trees before the gun gets a chance to fire. For 7. First one out the deck. Captain Longshanks. No, Captain Longbottom. He is going to, I think, form in. No, we will advance for 1 and then form into line. 4 inches. In the end, there wasn't enough room to deploy into line, so they have used those movement pips to wheel. Leader 2, French Sergeant, not doing much just now. A blue flag. Leader 4, Lieutenant Gunn. This is not going to be good news for the French line caught in the flank. I didn't record the last couple of draws, so the French actually got a bit of a reprieve because that gun had moved, so it needed to be loaded first. The cards were drawn, got some flags, ended up with a random movement event, which was step out lads for the British line. But now the British are going to use those 2 flags to sharp practice with the cannon, and it will actually fire this time. So 11 dice, taking on 3s because it's been laid, so it's controlled, plus first fire. So 4 misses, 7 hits. So in the open, 1 dead, 2 points a shot, doubled to 4 for being hit in the flank. Should have allocated those hits before rolling damage, so I've just taken 1 model off the first group and put 2 points of shock on each. So red flag. Leader 3. So, Lieutenant Semple can move the Light Company for 3 dice. Good for a disappointing 7. Need a 1. So, Captain Petit, he will move his line up for 2 dice for 6. Leader 3, Captain Gross. We might use those 2 flags for pas de charge and get out of there, I think. So that's what we'll do. We need to move towards the enemy, so that's a wheel, and then 3 dice of action, and take off 2 points of shock for each group. For 5. I don't know why I said 5, I'd rolled 9. And next card out, red flag. Leader 2, Sergeant Shanks doesn't have anything to do. Leader 4, great. So the French can bring in the voltigeurs now, who I think will start making their way up the flank here. And there's Tiffin. All the British groups have activated, so those 2 cards go back in the deck for the next activation phase. After not doing anything for the whole game so far, voltigeurs get to go first. So he's going to direct one of the groups ahead along the side of the woods, and the other group into the woods there. It's a blue flag. Leader 4. Okay, with Lieutenant Gun, we'll get that gun reloaded for both actions. A red flag. Leader 1. Captain Petit will get his unit to wheel. Roll the 6 on the pips there. 2 blue flags. Leader 2, Sergeant Fabergé, can't do much at the moment. A red flag. Well, I think sharp practice to fire the gun again is the way to go here. So it's Captain Petit and Sergeant Fabergé who are in trouble this time. So the gun wasn't laid, no first fire, so 5s and 6s. Yeesh. 5 hits there. So 3 on Captain's group. 3 points of shock. Two on Sergeant's group. That's the 1 and 2. 1 point of shock. Or no points of shock, actually. Red flag. Leader 3. So set Seppel Light Company. Advance for 3 dice, I think. For 9. Blue flag. I think take the opportunity to activate Captain Gross and advance for 2 dice. 10. I think a bit of wheeling will be needed to get around those trees. No, he comes out anyway, but it's taking his turn. Another blue flag. Leader 1. So I think the British better get ready to deploy into line and see if we can open fire. Actually, not enough room there to form into line still, so move for 2. Oh, 11. Right. We'll be very close firing next turn, I think. And that's the end of the turn. So it'll be very interesting next turn depending on who gets to move first. Leader 4. So Lieutenant Joly. Right, so a couple of groups of light infantry skirmishers. So group in trees, they'll use their 1 dice to light infantry dice to advance. Let's see about firing and reloading on the British column. And yeah, the other group will do the same. So there's a couple, I think 12, no one in 12 there. So first 6, 5 for in the open, 4 for first fire, 3 for light infantry. In the box. Not ideal. 2 hits. It's 1 in the first group in the column. Get in the box. It's a 6, so that's 1 dead. And second group, 1. So, dead chap in the first group. Second group of vultures is going to get 2 extra dice because of Lieutenant being level 2, adding his dice to the roll. Again, 3s. 3 hits. Very poor shooting. 3 points of shock. Sorry, should divvy that up, so it's 1 point of shock on each. So there's 1 free move and then a fire and to reload for each of the light infantry groups there. Red flag. Leader 2, Sergeant. Yep, we can take a point of shock off in the formation. Light infantry. Better get moving. 12. Blue flag. Your red flag. A sergeant can take a point of shock off one group. Well, that's leader 4, so the gun will be getting reloaded. The 2 red cards need to be used to sharp practice on the gun to fire again before line of sight is lost. So again, 11 dice. Requiring 5s. Well, British shooting is pretty good today. 6. So 3 on the unit with Captain Gross. Oh, that's 4 dice. One dead, 2-0. And the other group, just 1 shot. It's a red flag, a blue flag, a blue flag. So, random firing event for the gun. And 9. Charge them to hell. Alright, so the gun's going to search for 2d6 inches. Can't help but feel their enthusiasm is going to bring them a bit too close to the voltigeurs for comfort. Blue flags. So, that's 4 blue flags there. Or just to use 3 of them to activate Captain Gross. Yeah. Or hold on to that for now and hope his card comes out and use pas de charge. Speak of the devil. Okay. So use those 2 cards. Advance 2d6 the enemy, take off 2 points shot per group. In fact, that should be 3 actions of movement. So another whole 1 inch. Not that exciting. So shame we weren't able to get into fisticuffs with that. A red flag. Tiffin. So who was left over? Leader 1. So could activate the British line. So the column is going to attempt to engage in fisticuffs. The 10 inches should do it. So British are over half strength for 66. They have group and support for another 3d6 and they're a level of quality better, so that's 11d6. So 3 dead, additional shock from the 6s. French are fighting back with 96. 3 dead and 2 shock as well. So that was a draw, so we had to fight again. The French are now below half strength, so they're going to be only on 66 to the British 11. But British only inflict 1 kill and 2 kills with 1 point of shock. The French are not going down without a fight. That's 3 deaths, 1 point of shock on the British. So amazingly, French group won that combat despite much lower dice. So the British column has been thrown back 6 inches. Looking at it though, both those groups are down to 1 man, and they have more than double the number of points of shock. Our leader should be back there. And therefore those groups are broken. Now, I might not be playing this right, but I think the groups on their own should run, breaking both those formations. So we will roll 2d6 and get them out there. So, sum up, the groups with single men both ran through friendly groups, passing on excess shock. And bad things happen. French lost 2 points of force morale and British lost 3 points from force morale. French do have leader 1 still to activate, so advance that formation and route into a new turn. Leader 1. Well, I think it's about time we got into a firing line and open fire. So there's 15 dice, short range, first fire, so 3s to hit. That's a lot better from the Brits there, only 2 misses, so that'll be 13 hits. It's going to be shared between the 3 units there. Yes, this guy at the front's just shot. So 4 dice on Captain Petit. A grand total of 1 point of shock. Four dice on Sergeant Fabergé. 1 dead. And 5 dice on Captain Gross. 2 points of shock. A blue flag. Only 2 sergeants, so we have a point of shock here. A blue flag. Red flag, another red flag. So, random firing action on the British line. 3, it's probably not good. They have fouled their barrels, so going to be at -1 to hit. Leader 1, Captain Petit. Well, Captain Gross in the way, so we'll just take off 3 points of shock, I think. Red flag. Use that to activate the light infantry to move for 3. For 9. Blue flag. Red flag. Leader 3, Captain Gross. So, I think we will upgrade him with 2 of the flags to level 4. Fire and reload. So at level 4 he gets take away 2 shocks, still leaving 2 command activations for fire and reload. I'm adding 4 dice for 12 dice to fire. Short range, first fire still, and that will be 3s. So 3 misses, so 9 hits. So 5 dice on the big man's group. So 4 points of shock. Takes them up to 8. Another group. 3 points of shock. And that was a fire and reload. Here 4, Lieutenant Gun. We'll need to move the gun, maybe see if we can point at the voltigeurs for a couple of pips, or no, 1 pip and part reload. 2. Here 4 voltigeurs. I think we need to try and finish off this British line group. Order both units to fire and reload. So first unit, 6 dice in 4s. For 3 hits. 2 on the big man, which is a dead and a shock. And nothing on the other group. Let's check that the kill isn't the big man. Roll of a 1. Yes, it is. So let's see what happens to him. Oh dear, rolled a 1. I believe the big man has lost a level. Let's just double check. Oh, it's much worse than that. He is in fact killed. So now I need to roll for level 2 status leader being killed, for bad things happen. It's a 5. So at least -2, if not -3. And one of those groups went over shock level, so they'll both withdraw 1 inch. And we still have the other group of French voltigeurs to fire as well. 8 dice with leader helping them out. There will be hard cover on this because it's firing through some boulders. forced to hit 3 hits. 2 on Sergeant's group. For 4s in hardcover. It's a miss. And one of the other groups a miss as well. Next card. Blue flag. And Tiffin. So there's one British red flag there, which could be used for the light infantry. Nope, because they were activated with the card. So that's all the groups gone. So force morale is now 9 to the French and 6 to the British. Light company. Well, they might be able to get some flanking fire. I think they'll move for 1 dice and open fire. So rolling 7 dice to shoot into the flank of the French line. So going to be 5 to hit, short range 4 hits, and light infantry 3 to hit, and first fire 2s. So here's the 1 miss. Three on the group with the sergeant. There's 2 points of shot doubled to 4. And 3 on the other group. 2 points shot doubled to 4. And that was fire and reload by the light company. Leader 1 is Captain Petit. He's a bit stuck there. Maybe they will need to wheel backwards to try and face the British Flight Company. Conscripts and volunteer, I think that's only 1 dice that they can do that with. 5. Let's see how far that gets them. It's a curious one of when you have shock and you have to reduce your movement unless it's away from the enemy. It does a wheel count as moving away from the enemy. I've split the difference, so rolled 2 5s, and it's the lower of the 2 dice for conscripts and volunteers. So we're halfway to where they want to be. A blue flag. A red flag. A red flag. So random movement for the wheeling French line. A 6, I believe, lets us move again. Step out, lads. 1d6 of movement. 2. So again, we'll split that for 1. Leader 4, Lieutenant Gun. Right, well, I think we want to reload for 1, lay the gun, and then use those 2 red flags to fire. And if we're within canister range of those vultures, all the better. What's counting it as a light gun in this game, so canister range is 18, so it's about 20, so it's just out 11 dice with ball, which lowers 1 level of cover, so we'll just count as being in the open. So I'm needing 5s, just the 2 hits. Absolutely nothing. So, leader 4, Lieutenant Jolie, I think we better try and finish off this block of line. So again, fire and reload. 4s, 6 dice for the first group. 2 hits. 1 on each, first one with the sergeant. Shock. Other one. Shock. So they were forced back due to excess shock. 4 on bad things is -1 point, and then the formation was broken, which is -2 points. That's -3, so the British go down to 3. So next turn they're going to have 2 cards out of the deck. Second group of volunteers to open fire. Forced hit 5, and then light infantry for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. So 2 on the group with the sergeant. We're in hardcover now. A 5 and a 6. So point of shock and a dead. The other group dead. We're also forced to withdraw in that. A 5, so that's another point off, so it's down to 2 on the force morale for the British. A red flag. A 2 sergeant. Let's take off a point of shock. Red flag. 2 the sergeant. Well, he's got his hands full. There's no point reloading and firing because nobody can shoot because of the amount of shock they've got. Try and take a point of shock off. Blue flag. Another blue flag. And Tiffin. So who didn't go? Leader 1 is dead. Leader 3 for the French Captain Gross. I think we will advance for 2 pips. 2 dice. And 11. Which is just enough to get to fisticuffs. Right, calculations to do. So French are rolling 8 dice. Two kills and a point of shock. So the calculation for the British would be 6 dice for being over 50% plus 3 dice for sporting group plus 2 dice for being higher quality, which is 11. The minuses though, 10 points of shock on the sporting group and 7 on the fighting group, so that's -8 in total, so just 3 dice. Plus 1 for leader. So grand total of nothing there. So the British lost by 2. Thrown back by 9 inch facing enemy, add 2 points shock to each group fighting or sporting on the table. We're almost breaking those 2 groups as well as pushing them back 9. 2 for force morale. It is looking terrible for the British. Let's just see what happens. make this the final turn regardless. Leader 2. Take a point of shock here. A red flag. Leader 4 is Lieutenant Gun. He will reload. Leader 2 is Sergeant. No more flags are going to come out. Might as well just take 2 points of shock off. So Sergeant Shanks takes off 2 points of shock. Now, the light company actually stand a chance of perhaps being the heroes here. So they will fire and reload with 7 dice. Not all in short range, so needing 4s. Two on group with captain. 2 points of shock. 2 on group with the sergeant. It's a point of shock and a kill. Oh, leader 1 died, should have taken that card out. A blue flag. Another blue flag. 3 blue flags. So, firing random event for the light company. A 9. Charge them to hell. Move forward 2d6. 8. Might be foolish, boys. Leader 1. Okay, so Captain Petit will use 1 flag to make himself level 4. They will present and first fire, and he gets to take off 2 points of shock for being level 4. So this will be 2s to hit. So there are 6, 14 for the shock, losing 3 shots, so 11. 15 dice, with 4 for being a level 4 leader. One miss. Three dead, 2 shock, he's a leader, and a 3, no it's not. Another blue flag, and there's Tiffin. So fault share units can activate. Yeah, we'll call it at that. French have held on. Didn't look good when that cannon lined up on the flank, but didn't actually do much damage. Guess there's a couple of questions. Maybe viewers can weigh in. The fisticuffs earlier. when the column of British went in, they and the lead group and the French group that were in contact both ended up with more shock than men left after the 2 rounds of combat, which caused the group to break. The rulebook specifies groups breaking. It doesn't specify formations, all turning tail and run when one has more shock than men. So did I play that right? Should all of the groups flee, or is it just the group that has the excess shock as the way I played it? The other thing I suppose is the wheeling. The French got shot in the flank and then wanted to wheel backwards to get into the firing line. That is technically movement away from the enemy, however, it feels like because it's a controlled move, they maybe should be losing pips on the dice due to the shock they've accrued. So yeah, that's our first battle report. Incredibly rusty with sharp practice, no opportunity to game yet. That might come. But hopefully that was entertaining enough. Maybe just point out that the models on the table, all plastics, a mix of Victrix and Perry on both sides actually. The mat I actually picked up from Aldi a couple of years ago. It's called a grass carpet. I don't know if it's the kind of thing you'd maybe put down inside a marquee or something outside. It's almost 4 foot wide and it's a little over 6 feet in length, so it's pretty good, just on a couple of pasting tables. Pasting tables, one is a bit higher than the other, but it does lead to a nice bit of elevation on the table. The forests, there's some railway trees there. The other trees are homemade out of wire and rubber moss. Building at the far end is a Perry North American one, North American farmhouse. Excuse that being on a Peninsular War table. Perhaps doesn't fit precisely, and the MDF that you can see is foreground. More Wild West than anything else, but I'm pretty sure people all over the world build huts out of timber, so it does the job, I think. If anyone has any other comments, queries, love to hear them below. If you want to see me do more battle reports, let me know. If not, that's okay, let me know too. Cheers now, bye bye.